Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you. So we have a new announcement here in Master Duel for the next selection pack coming out next week on September 9th, Regeneration of Stars. This will not only introduce the Regenesis theme, but as you might see here, it will also include Allied Code Talker at Ignister, which is a pretty safe assumption that the other follow-up at Ignister support will be in this pack too. Now, while this is of course a boost for the Ignister archetype, it's actually a massive boost in power for the Maliss archetype. In fact, with the inclusion of these cards, Maliss no longer really has to worry about Lancea, not nearly as much as it used to. Yes, the card that was a silver bullet, completely shutting down Maliss in almost every situation, now will just be a very minor hindrance to them. And in this video, I'll show you some of the cards that will be included in the Maliss build, as well as these lines where you can play through Lancea, and also an example of how these cards can just get you into a Maliss combo, only opening Ignister cards and hand traps. So let's go ahead and head over to Edo Pro, a program that I use to show off combos with cards that aren't in Master Duel yet, and I'll show you this new Ignister stuff. Alright, so this is going to be my initial build. This is the first list I've put together for Maliss post-Ignister support. Now, we are going to be talking about the new UR card that was mentioned. However, first I want to talk about probably the most important piece of support here, which is going to be Backup at Ignister. This is a new Cyberse monster that is a level 3 Cyberse tuner, with 1200 attack and 800 defense. That says if you control a Cyberse monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one Dark Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand, except Backup at Ignister, then discard one card. You can only use each effect of Backup at Ignister once per turn. Now, being able to add any Dark Cyberse monster from deck to hand, of course, will include all of the Maliss monsters, but it also includes a new Ignister monster for the main deck, which we're playing one single copy of. That's going to be Wizard at Ignister. Wizard at Ignister is a level 4 Dark Cyberse monster with 1800 attack and 800 defense. That says if you control a Cyberse monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, you can target one Dark Cyberse monster in your graveyard, special summon both this card in your hand and that monster in defense position. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn except Cyberse monsters. You can banish this card from your field or graveyard, then target one monster your opponent controls, change its battle position. You can only use each effect of Wizard at Ignister once per turn. We're here, of course, for the first two effects. Not only is this also an extender like the Backup at Ignister, but it also revives a Cyberse monster from your graveyard. Could be a Maliss monster, could be a Backup at Ignister that you've already linked off. I'll show examples of where we'll be doing both. The final new at Ignister card is the monster that was mentioned in the blurb in the news section for Master Duel. That is going to be Allied Code Talker at Ignister. This is a Link 5 Dark Cyberse monster with 2300 attack. That material requirements are going to be 3 or more effect monsters, so pretty generic. This card says if this card is Link summoned, you can special summon as many Cyberse monsters with 2300 attack from your graveyard as possible to your zones this card points to, and if you do, this card gains 500 attack for each. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you contribute one of your Link monsters this card points to, negate the activation, and if you do, banish that card. You can only use this effect of Allied Code Talker at Ignister once per turn. Another new end board piece for the Maliss archetype, of course, it's supposed to be for Ignister, but because the material requirements are so generic, we can definitely just throw this in Maliss anyway. Even if this required you to use one at Ignister monster to make it, we could still make it in this deck very easily, but yeah, it's an Omni Negate. It's an Omni Negate that also adds some more presence to the end board. These are all going to be very welcome additions for the Maliss deck. So, as you can see, there are some changes to the extra deck here as well that I have made. Cards that you don't always see in the Maliss extra deck The main one is going to be Cyber's Wicked. Cyber's Wicked is now worth playing in Maliss because, as mentioned before, backup add Ignister is a tuner, meaning that we can use Cyber's Wicked in order to add it. Cyber's Wicked, by the way, also adds a Cyber's tuner by banishing a Cyber's monster from your graveyard as a cost. Of course, that's when a monster is special summoned to a zone it points to. But by banishing a Cyber's monster from the graveyard, naturally this opens up opportunities to banish, your Maliss monsters that may in turn then get special summoned. So definitely has some pretty natural synergy there on top of just adding the backup add Ignister as well. And of course, even if you're going Cyber's Wicked for backup add Ignister and you've already got access to your Maliss plays, you can still use backup to add Wizard, and then simply use Wizard to further extend by getting 2 more bodies. It's probably pretty easy to see here why these cards are going to be so good in Maliss. But again, I'll show you specifically why they are here in a moment as well. The other card that we're playing here that has actually seen play in Maliss before, but is definitely going to be at least a little more important now, is going to be Salamangreat Almirage. With Almirage, if you open any normal summonable hand trap plus backup add Ignister, that's actually going to be full Maliss combo. And again, I'm going to show that line here in a moment. But before we do that, I want to show probably the most important, or one of the more important things that these cards let you do. Not only are they phenomenal extenders just in and of themselves, but they also give you the ability to play through Artifact Lancea. This is a card that is extremely popular for its ability to completely shut down Maliss, or at least before it could completely shut down Maliss. However, now with this new support, you can actually play through this card, and it's not just like you can put a couple of bodies on board. You can set up multiple forms of disruption, multiple negates through Artifact Lancea. You can also even set up negates through Artifact Lancea, even if you don't have access to Maliss monsters. Now I'm going to show you how to do that in this section up here. Alright, let's say you've got an opening hand like this, where you have Dormouse plus backup add Ignister. You go to summon your Dormouse and activate effects to go combo, but then all of a sudden, your opponent chains Lancea. Now, of course, even if you had something like March Hare, an archetype extender, normally you would just be kind of done here. However, thanks to backup add Ignister, I'll show you what kind of plays we can do. Let's go ahead and link off our Dormouse in order to special summon Link Decoder. Now we can activate our backup add Ignister special summoning from hand, because we control a Cyber's monster that was summoned from the extra deck. From here, the effect of backup add Ignister activates, and we're actually going to add the Wizard add Ignister, discarding any other card in our hand. Now, we can activate the effect of Wizard add Ignister, targeting that Dormouse that's in our graveyard, special summoning not only the Wizard, but the Dormouse from our graveyard. Now, we have access to Maliss Q Red Ransom. Let's make that by linking off the Link Decoder, the Dormouse, of course we're going to have to link off Dormouse, and then one of our other monsters. Alright, from here we can activate both the effects of Red Ransom, as well as the effect of Link Decoder. Link Decoder, of course, wants to be Chain Link 2, so that way we are chain blocking against the Ash Blossom. Although, of course, they probably would have asked your backup anyway. Special summon Link Decoder, and then remember we're under Lancea, so we're not going to add Maliss and Underground. Instead, we're going to add Maliss in the Mirror to have a negate during our opponent's turn. But we're actually still not done, because from here we can still even go into the allied code talker add Ignister. I think he called it Alliance earlier, but once the allied code talker add Ignister is summoned, we can activate the effect. This will special summon the Red Ransom from our graveyard, and then we can set the Maliss in the Mirror. So this sets up a few things. This lets us, actually we can go into our opponent's turn here. And let's say our opponent is now going to then normal summon their starter and activate the effect. We could use our allied code talker add Ignister's Omni-Negate effect to stop it, or let's go ahead and activate Maliss in the Mirror. This not only negates your opponent's starter, but then it also banishes your Red Ransom on board. This will trigger the Red Ransom effect to special summon back to the field, then we can banish another Cyber's monster from our deck. That's going to be the White Rabbit. We get both trigger effects here. We can not only activate Red Ransom, but we are of course also going to activate White Rabbit. White Rabbit special summons the field, and then Red Ransom adds Maliss and Underground for follow-up. Now we still get to activate the White Rabbit effect and set MTP from our deck, which of course we have the ability to activate, banishing our, one of our Maliss monsters. Would need to be White Rabbit. Banishing White Rabbit in order to search, but more importantly, we also get to banish since we didn't control Red Ransom. Keep in mind you still have an Omni Negate here as well. And also keep in mind, this was through Lancea during your opponent's, or during your turn 1 rather. So, this is leagues better than simply linking off into Link Grebo and passing, which is currently what Maliss can do under the Lancea. Again, very easy to see how powerful this support is, but let's look into some more combo lines. Okay, this is pretty much the same situation we found ourselves in as the last hand, but let's say instead of Dormouse, we opened with Goldsark and that we don't have any Maliss cards in hand. We go to activate our Goldsark, and our opponent chains the Lancea. Now, Goldsark doesn't resolve. We not only don't get to banish a card in general, but we still don't have access to a Maliss monster. You might be thinking that we don't get to do anything at all. However, we do actually still have plays here. Let's normal summon the backup Ad Ignister, and then activate the effect in order to add Wizard Ad Ignister from deck to hand, discarding any other card. Now, we link summon Link Decoder, sending off the backup Ad Ignister, and then we can special summon Wizard Ad Ignister by special summoning also the backup from our graveyard. At this point, we can go ahead and make Splash Mage using our 2 non-link monsters, and then activate Splash Mage in order to revive one of them. Alright, let's make Transcode Talker using Splash Mage and the Link Decoder. Throw that over here. So of course trigger the Link Decoder's effect in order to revive, and then we can use Transcode Talker in order to bring back the Splash Mage. And then from here, we can go for our Allied Code Talker Ad Ignister. Just use all of our Link monsters to make that. Allied Code Talker Ad Ignister activates, reviving the Transcode Talker. While it doesn't provide quite as many disruptions as, some of our previous boards with Maliss monsters has, of course we have to keep in mind this is without access to Maliss and also still being under Lancea. So what we were able to get here is an Omni Negate that is untargetable thanks to the Transcode effect. The Transcode effect also further buffs both monsters, making them harder to run over. Which, again, this might not look like the most impressive board, but consider that previously, if you opened Goldsark and nothing else, you got Lancea, you would end on absolutely nothing. Definitely seems like a better alternative. But even beyond just getting hit with a Lancea, these new Ignister cards actually do let you go into full Maliss combo without opening Maliss cards. Here's how. Alright, let's say you open a hand that doesn't have any starters, but it does have backup Ad Ignister and any hand trap that you can normal summon. Well, if you're playing Almirage in your extra deck, as mentioned earlier, you can do the following combo. Normal summon your hand trap, and then link it off for the Almirage. Now, we control a Cyberus monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, meaning we can activate the backup Ad Ignister effect special summon. We'll use the effect to search a Dormouse from deck to hand, and then I'm going to discard that same Dormouse that I just searched. Seems a little bit weird until you remember that we can go into Splash Mage, and now we will activate Splash Mage in order to revive the Dormouse. Keep in mind Dormouse is going to be negated by Splash Mage, so we can't use it just yet, but what we can do is link into the Maliss Q Red Ransom. Now from here we're going to activate Red Ransom, and we're going to get Maliss in Underground. We're of course going to activate Maliss in Underground. And the card I want to banish is going to be Maliss in the Mirror. This will allow me to banish the Dormouse that's in the graveyard, and then we can add March Hare from deck to hand. Now we can trigger the effect of Dormouse, special summoning, and we will activate Dormouse in order to banish Chessy Cat next. This will of course allow us to activate the effect of Chessy Cat, special summoning, and then we can activate Chessy Cat's on-field effect, banishing our March Hare in hand in order to draw 2 cards. This will of course trigger the March Hare in hand in order to add right on back. Now, I'll be honest, from here, there are so many different ways that you could play this out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Link Decoder, And then from there, we can go into white binder with these 3. This will trigger the link decoder to summon. We don't need to use white binder's effect. We could banish the red ransom, but I'm actually going to do that with March Hare here in a second. So link decoder, and then we're going to activate March Hare, banishing the red ransom from our graveyard to special. So of course trigger the red ransom effect. I want to special summon her in the middle because I'm going to put Firewall Dragon here in this zone she points to. But we also still get to banish the White Rabbit that's in our deck. So let's go ahead and do that. Activate White Rabbit, special summon, and then we will activate to set the GWC from our deck. Alright, from here, like I said, I want to make Firewall Dragon, so let's do that using White Binder, and we can use Link Decoder. I want to put it in the main monster zone underneath our open extra deck zones. So that's why I said to put Red Ransom in the middle specifically. So we're going to put Firewall Dragon right over here. And if you wanted to, you can go into your Heart Scripter. But of course, we could also go into Allied Code Talker at Ignister using Red Ransom and our 2 remaining Maliss monsters. We can then use the effect of the Allied Code Talker at Ignister to revive both the Red Ransom and the White Binder. This gives you 3 bounces? Or is it 4? Let's see. Target monster on the field with the number of code linked to this card. So you can bounce 3 with the Firewall Dragon. We get to Omni-Negate with the Allied Code Talker at Ignister. And we still haven't even activated White Binder's effect, so we can MTP for a search and a banish as well. That's on top of drawing 2, by the way, as well as the other 4 cards that would be in your hand. There's a lot of different ways that you can play this out. There are pros and cons. It's really going to all depend on what else is in your hand. For example, in this line, I didn't even really banish the White Binder, so we still could have done an alternative line that banishes the White Binder to draw a card as well. Again, it's really just going to depend on what those other 4 cards in your hand actually end up being. But again, this is just one example of what you can end on with any hand trap plus backup at Ignister. So not even opening any Maliss monsters, and we were able to end on some pretty powerful board states here. Now, of course, there are many ways that you can combo with the backup at Ignister, integrating Cypress Wicked. I'm not going to show all of those off in this video. I just wanted to touch upon a few lines that really showed just how impactful the Ignister cards are for Maliss. I do want to do more of showing off these combos in a proper deck primer once these cards actually come out. Speaking of deck primers, I've been making quite a few of them lately. I really like how they've been turning out, so if you are interested in checking out some competitive guides for some meta-relevant decks, I already got one out for Fiendsmith Ryziel that came out a couple days ago, and I've got some more coming out here in the future. Would really appreciate you supporting those. If you want to see those videos that are coming out in the future early, then you can do so by joining as a channel member, right down there next to the subscribe button. Anyway, thank you very much for checking out this video. Hopefully this was of some help. Let's go ahead and move now to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.